everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be doing a very delicious book tag. So I was tagged yet again by the lovely Sarah Ella to do the Thanksgiving book tag. Now, I reside in Canada, so we already had our Thanksgiving October 11th. We have it about a month earlier than you guys out in the States. But I was also born in the States, so I am actually, in fact, a dual citizen. So I am Canadian and American, so I kind of acknowledge, I don't really celebrate, but I acknowledge the American Thanksgiving as well. So I thought to celebrate the American Thanksgiving this year, I would do the Thanksgiving book tag that Sarah Ella tagged me to do. So with the Thanksgiving book tag, we're taking Thanksgiving-y foods and relating them to books with questions. I will leave the original video as well as Sarah Ella's video in the description below. Question number 1 is bread. Which book is purely fluff with no plot line? Now, I enjoy a really good fluffy read every now and then, so I don't mind fluffy books where I can kind of predict the plot line. So for this one, I chose really anything by Melanie Dickerson. She writes medieval historical romances, fairy tale retelling-esque type books, and they're pretty fluffy. I mean, the plots are really predictable. Everybody gets their happily ever afters in the end. And they're really enjoyable. I love them, actually. So I enjoy a good fluffy read. So really anything by Melanie Dickerson. I just read her newest one, The Huntress of Thornbeck Forest. And it was a fluffy good read. So anything by Melanie Dickerson is really just fluff. Question number 2 is turkey. What book makes you want to fall asleep? And I chose The Space Trilogy by C.S. Lewis. I did recommend this in my Trilogy Recommends video for my monthly recommendations, but to be honest, if I don't stay focused, if I don't have something to do with my hands like crochet or color in my adult coloring books, I can't stay focused on this. It is brilliant, beautiful, amazing writing. I will not deny his talent in writing, but it's just like, I can't even tell you what these books are about because I don't know what these books are about yet. It's just, there's so much going on, so honestly this book could really put me to sleep if I let it. Question number 3, gravy. And personally, my favorite part of our Thanksgiving dinner is my mom's homemade turkey gravy. That stuff is amazing. And the question for gravy is, which book makes the whole series worth it? For this, I chose kind of 2 books, because so far there's 2 books I really enjoyed in the series, and that is Cinder and Cress by Marissa Meyer. Everybody really enjoys Cress so much, but I also thoroughly enjoyed Cinder just as much as I enjoyed Cress. I didn't enjoy Scarlet so far, and I still haven't been able to read Winter. I am on number 2 on the list in my library to get Winter. But so far in the series, Cress was probably my first favorite and Cinder is my second favorite. So those books really make the whole series worth it so far. Question number 4 is stuffing. Which book is full of action scenes? And for this I chose Snow Like Ashes by Sarah Raish. I really cannot say her name. If somebody in a video has said her name and said it correctly, please let me know in the comments below. I would really like to learn how to say her name properly. I chose Snow Like Ashes because it is an action-packed, amazing book. It's got cool weapons, it's got cool warriors, you got full-on war scenes, and you got great characters who make excellent warriors and kick-butt female heroes. Like, it was awesome. I love that book. I've also requested Ice Like Fire out from my library, so hopefully they will have that soon. It's such a good book, guys. If you haven't read it yet, highly recommend it. Full of action. Question number 5, mashed potatoes. Which book looked really good but wasn't? And sadly, I had to choose The Storm Siren by Mary Weber. I was recommended this by some good friends here on BookTube, and I was really excited for it. I bought it off a book outlet, and I really didn't like it. It was so dark, and I didn't understand the storyline. I couldn't connect with the characters. I couldn't build any interest in them or concern or just any relationship really with the characters. I just couldn't do it, and it was one of those books that were trying to be edgy, yet still staying on the clean lines, but not really. So I didn't appreciate the content, I didn't appreciate the darkness of it, and the lack of caring for the characters. So if you did like this book, I'm really sorry, but I just could not get into it. Question number 6. Which book has the sweetest romance? And ironically, I actually don't eat cranberries because they could probably kill me. Aside from that, for this question, I chose Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. So far, this is the only Jane Austen book I've read, aside from my manga format of Pride and Prejudice. But I watched the BBC movie as well as read the book, and I love Mr. Tilney. I love Mr. Tilney. He is so far my favorite. I keep saying you all can keep Mr. Darcy. I will take Mr. Tilney. I just absolutely love their banter and how they met and their relationship and just a bunch of misunderstandings. It is such a cute book and so underrated for Jane Austen's work. So I chose Northanger Abbey. Question number 7. Corn. Which is the corniest book you've ever read? Now, I like corny. I love cheesy, I love fluffy, I love corny. I will totally be okay with reading a corny book. For this question, I chose First Date by Kristen McGee. Now, the synopsis for the book itself is really corny and cheesy. It's about a girl who goes on like a reality TV, American Idol-esque type show to win a date to the prom with the son of the US president. Now, the whole prospect of that just sounds so cheesy and so corny, but in spite of that really cheesy storyline we have going on, there is still a lot of heart in this book, and the characters are just mind-blowingly awesome. I love the characters, especially the side characters, and it was such an applicable book, even while having a really cheesy, unrealistic plotline. And that's just the work of a good author. I mean, I really enjoyed it. It was super corny, but it ended up having so much more to it. Question number 8. Green beans. Which book is too long and needs to be shortened? And for this, I actually chose an entire trilogy, and that is the Match trilogy by Ali Condi. That could have been a duology or even just the standalone, to be honest. I mean, I dragged myself through Crossed and Reached. I mean, they could have combined that into a duology and it would have been so much better. The first book was actually pretty good, but then once you get the second book, all the characters just got on my nerves. So to be honest, it would have survived very well as a duology or even just a standalone. Question number 9, pumpkin pie. Which book do you read to get out of a reading slump? Now for this question, it's not so much a single book that I read to get myself out of a reading slump, but kind of a couple of types of books I will read to get myself out of a reading slump. So I will read either a cheesy action adventure fantasy type book, for example, Isle of the Lost by Melissa de la Cruz, or I will read a lighthearted, fluffy fairy tale retelling / medieval romance like anything by Melanie Dickerson or the Princesses of Westfallen trilogy, which I mentioned. Really anything that's a fairy tale retelling I like to read to get out of a reading slump. Or I will read a World War II era book. I really enjoyed Codename Verity, Rose Under Fire, The Book Thief, Prisoner of Night and Fog, Conspiracy of Blood and Smoke. So these 3 types of books are probably my favorite genres to read, and that's what I would probably read to get myself out of a reading slump, is just pick up one of my favorite genres. Question number 10, dog or cat? Which food would you steal from the Thanksgiving table? Now, I 100% agreed with Sarah Ella for this. The best thing about Thanksgiving is the leftovers. I love a hot turkey sandwich the day after Thanksgiving. I take a homemade bread, I put turkey on it, and my mom's homemade gravy just smothers that thing. It is the most unhealthy thing you could possibly eat because it's just like meat and bread smothered in gravy. But it is so worth it and so good. And you only have it like twice a year. But yeah, the Thanksgiving leftovers are the best. I would probably steal that turkey and the gravy. And since I'm kind of posting this like right around the American Thanksgiving, I'm actually not going to tag anybody because I don't think anyone's going to actually have time to do this to post it around Thanksgiving time. So I'm not going to tag anybody yet again. I'm terrible at that. But as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and happy Thanksgiving to all my American friends out there. Have a great and delicious holiday, everybody. Happy Thanksgiving, and thanks for watching.